Welcome back, football fans. Domestic football is returning. 26-27 is here. And in this video, the EFL returns. Without further ado, let's get into it. So the EFL is back. I cannot wait. We are going to put predictions together in this episode, of course, but the caveat is that it's the first game of the season. Anything can happen. We're going to be using a range of tools and metrics to help us make those predictions. And what I like to do on these opening videos of the season is just check out the current prices for who's going to be promoted and relegated. And it gives you a good idea, certainly, of where the bookmakers feel the teams are at currently. And you cannot really disagree with who they have first and second. I would have Wolves, given the squad that they've got, given the players that they've got. I think that they will probably lose one or two more before the end of the transfer window, but Wolves at 6.5 to win the competition, I think is a great price. If we just look at to be promoted, you can see West Ham now go to 1.5. Jarrod Bowen in the Championship. Troy Parrott in the Championship. They've kept a good number of their players together. Wolves to be promoted, 2.62. Only two teams can go up automatically, and the bookmakers clearly think that it is those two teams that are going to do it. Middlesbrough, they collapsed last season. There's no doubt about that. Southampton at 4-1 to go up. Controversial end to the season, to say the least, for them, but they were probably the form team in the second half of last season. Wrexham and Birmingham, always eyes on them as well. Norwich, always pushing for a playoff place. Sheffield United will need to go again. They will need to find something new, I think, under Wilder. There's been rumours of him getting miffed off again. Let me know in the comments who you feel will get promoted. I think Wolves to win the division at 6.5 is a very, very good price, given who they've got in their squad. Players like Mane, Trippier, Raul Jimenez is back there. Raul Jimenez in the Championship. He'll probably get 10 penalties alone. Now on to League One. We will take a quick look at League One and League Two, and then we will get to some data and making some predictions. We're also going to do the Bet Slip Generator. We're going to use the Bet Slip Generator in this episode, so stay tuned for that. Leicester, 1.72 to get promoted, to bounce right back to the Championship. I guess the thing with Leicester is if they don't get promoted straight away, what becomes of them? That's the question. Sheffield Wednesday, they're in familiar territory. They've been down in League One in recent times. Same goes for Luton. It's not an easy league to get out of. That is true, because just look at all these teams fighting for the playoff spots. Blackpool were probably the form team towards the end of last season. I think they won the last 5 games, hardly conceded a goal. Ian Evatt finally found something that worked after coming in mid-season. Stockport, I watch a lot of League One football, and whenever I watch Stockport, or whenever I see the highlights for their games, the goals that they score, the possession that they have, they play some really, really good football. Probably the best footballing team in League One across the last 2 seasons, I would say, and they've been very, very unlucky that they haven't got promoted. They've lost in the playoffs a couple of times, I think, now. And has their time passed? Can they go again? It's tough. It's very tough, especially if you get so close and fail, because there's teams now. Luton under Jack Wilshere had a strong end to the season, and the bookies clearly like what they've seen so far. 3.5 for them to get promoted. Plymouth under Tom Cleverley, it didn't start well at all. They were in the bottom 4 for a large chunk of the season, but they got out and they pushed up the table. Huddersfield, another team that have been in the Championship and the Premier League in recent times. Reading as well. Wycombe, in the past few years, they've been pushing for playoffs as well. Wigan, Barnsley, there are some big teams, and there's always a surprise package. Peterborough have been a yo-yo club in recent times, but as things stand, it doesn't look like they are the favourites at all with the bookmakers. Maybe a late push for playoffs if they can get together a good set of players. They usually do have 1 or 2 surprising young players that emerge every season, Peterborough. Now on to League Two, and it could be a very, very competitive league this season, I feel. We've got Salford City, who lost 3-0, in the playoff final Gary Neville and Beckham and co and Scholes watching on. They've spent a lot of money. They've put more money in. They've sacked the manager. They've got a new manager. Rinse and repeat, but can they finally get promoted? They seem desperate to do so, to follow in the footsteps of Wrexham and Birmingham and all that, with the outside money coming in. And there's also a trend here in teams that have come up from the National League and doing really, really well. Barnet had a great first season back in the National League. They're a great goal-scoring team, especially when they play at home. They're so good at home, and that transition from National League to League Two was no issue for them at all. And you can see the same is true of York, who are 3.5 to get promoted. And Oldham, same story, come from the National League recently, and they are now 5s to get promoted again, ahead of teams that have been in League Two for an age. Now, a quick question for you if you're watching this at home. Who is your team? Who do you support? And how do you think you're going to do this season? Do you have high hopes, or are you a little bit pessimistic? Let us all know in the comments. Now let's take a look at some data. This is the Football Form Guide, and it has been revamped, renewed for the new season. Link in the description if you want to check this out. It's probably in its most useless state at this moment, but it's still useful, if that makes sense. As the season progresses, of course, this tool will become invaluable. At the moment, we are looking at the Championship, and we are including friendly games, and we're also enabling this, which is a new feature, the ability to show the trend, the direction, the momentum, the trajectory of a certain team. And you can see the arrows appear here. So at the minute, we're looking at overs and BTTS. And again, this is another new feature. We have these new presets up here. We can look at corners, and it will automatically load all of the teams in. So we can see total corners, 117 in the last 10 games for Southampton. This is including friendly games now, and you can see that it is a slight rise on their previous 10 games, 0.2 more. If we look at corners for, we can see that Millwall head to the top, and they are away from home at Bristol City. Corners against, very easy to navigate. Well, that's an interesting thing to note straight away, isn't it? Bristol City, top for corners against, and corners for Millwall. They're playing each other. Maybe Millwall will have more corners in that game. Or maybe they will have, let's just say, over 3-4 corners in the game. And right now, I've got to keep saying this in this video, it is game 0. We have not much data to go off. We have friendly games loaded into this data. So you have to just acknowledge that when you're making predictions on this day. Things can happen. Teams are often not ready. We've already seen a few managers. I'm quite surprised by this. The Newcastle manager yesterday, after they lost to Everton, was saying that we're not going to be ready for the first game of the season. The players are not ready. And fair enough, they've changed the manager and whatnot. But there will be teams that have had a full pre-season where they're also still not ready tactically or fitness-wise. We'll take a look at shots on target now, and we can see West Brom 51 in their last 10 games. And with this new tool, we have another new feature that I want to show you. You can click on the stats icon, and now when you see all this data, so you're ranking this team and you can see where they rank for certain things. If you find a stat, so let's say, where is it? Shots on target 4. This is how we found West Brom. So we're going to click on this now, and you can now see a breakdown of where that data is coming from, which I just think is fantastic. This is probably one of the things that I am using most at the moment on the Football Form Guide. It just saves so much time, saves so many clicks, and gives you more confidence in this metric. Or not, if they might have had 30 shots against a non-league team or something, and you can just quickly see that they've played 3 away games, possibly neutral, given that they're friendlies, 10 against Rotherham. They're playing teams from League One or below, so this is going to be, a challenge for them, playing a team in the Championship, and playing away at Norwich is going to be a difficult game, no doubt about that. We also have a first half preset, and we can see 23 goals in the last 10 games. Cardiff are playing Wrexham. What an opening game that is, a Welsh derby. BTTS in the first half, 4 of Middlesbrough's last 10 games, winning by half-time. Lincoln, again, First game of the season, Lincoln, different manager, etc. Different league, Cardiff, different league against Wrexham, who always want to start the season well. And they always want that momentum, don't they, Wrexham? Swansea away at Stoke. They've won 5 of their last 10. Swansea actually ended the season really well as well. They could be a bit of a dark horse for the playoffs this season, as could West Brom. So that is the Football Form Guide. There are more new features. Check out the Discord and X for all of the new additions that were added. And if you want to check it out ahead of this game week that is opening, and of course ahead of the full season, then just check the link in the description. Now in this section of the video, we're going to use a quick filter to find some potential games for this weekend. And again, we are sticking with the EFL. So we're looking at probability here, and we are basically asking this quick filter to rank all games by our model's output for over 1.5 goals. So the top games will be at the top of the feed when we get the results back. And then we're going to add a competition filter as well. So I've added 3 leagues there, and we are going to cancel out of that, and we can see 3 competitions filtered, probability over 1.5 goals. We hit search, no fixtures because I'm recording this on a Thursday. Next 7 days, we get games. York City against Bristol Rovers is the top rated game for over 1.5 goals with 81.6%. Cardiff against Wrexham, Welsh derby that we talked about, 80.1%. Watford against Southampton. What odds are Southampton in that game? Because they're over evens. They're over evens. That is a surprise. I do like what I see about Southampton, especially towards the end of last season. And then Sheffield United against Birmingham is also up there. And then we can see League 2 games. Barnet against Salford, definitely expecting goals there. That should be a cracking opening fixture for League 2. Barnet against Salford, Mansfield against Doncaster, Northampton against Swindon. Because it's the opening day, I'm going to be using the probability model and also a little bit of my own knowledge on some of these teams. So let's go and put together some predictions. So my first selection of 26-27, let me know what you think in the comments. BTTS, Norwich have not kept a clean sheet in 8 competitive games. They conceded in the Carabao Cup in the first competitive game of this season. And West Brom, they both ended the season well, these 2 teams, and I think they'll both be desperate to start well as well. So let's see how this one goes. The bookies are expecting it ever so slightly at 1.8. And from the data we saw, Millwall to have more corners than Bristol City at over evens takes this to 3.78. These are 3 p.m. kickoffs. That's why I have grouped them together. I also do like Southampton to win, and if you want to bump up the odds, Southampton to score in the second half of that game. And then from League 1 and League 2, we are using the probability model here. These are the top rated games for over 1.5 goals, and you can see there over 2.5 goals in Barnet against Salford. Barnet are always capable. They often concede but win, and I think with Salford City spending as they have and raring to go as they are, that could be a pretty open game. I know that bookies don't really expect goals on the opening day, hence the odds there, but you can get mistakes. You can get teams that are not quite ready. And historically, there has been goals. There has been a lot of BTTS games on the opening days of the season. And given Barnet and the way they can play and how strong they are at home, that is just going to be a cracking game, I feel, from League 2 between 2 teams that I think will be right up there come the end of the season. So to confirm, Mansfield against Doncaster, York against Bristol Rovers over 1.5 goals, and then over 2.5 goals in Barnet against Salford City, 3.42. Let me know what you think in the comments. Now, the Bet Slip Generator. So this tool has also had a new lick of paint, shall we say, in recent weeks and months. We're going to create a new profile here, and we're going to call it EFL. And for this, we're going to enable goals over 1.5 goals, over 2.5 goals, BTTS. I also really like the home and away goals and some of the games that it picks out for those markets. Next, we're going to enable this to just look at the EFL. You can see there are 3 leagues included. We're looking at the next 5 days. We're going to sort by probability. It might be that we get some of those games that we've just looked at for the over 1.5 goals selections. And we then take a look at the slip, and we are going to look at doubles here. So we're looking at target odds of 2.5, 2 items in the slip. Let's hit get and see what we get back. And we do get some items here. We get a double, which includes Lincoln to score a goal. And then it is York against Bristol Rovers. As we were on, you can see the odds have risen ever so slightly. 1.33, they were 1.32. There is a 6.4% edge, even at those odds, given what the probability model thinks of this game. And for Lincoln City to score, I know they've lost the manager, but how many players have they lost? And teams coming up a division, even if they are one of the worst teams, they can somehow start well. And maybe Middlesbrough can concede a goal. I'm sure they can concede a goal. They will concede many goals this season. But can they concede one on the first day to Lincoln City? 1.8. And that is a value double right there. And we can see here that it does not stop there. Also, Blackburn to score and Sheffield Wednesday to concede on their first game in League One. Leyton Orient to score, that is. And that also offers 5.3% edge. We are sorting by probability, of course, so it's likely that we see value bets at the top. You get 10 slips back every time you press get on this tool. Again, link in the description if you want to check this out. Leicester to concede, Oxford United to concede in League One. Aaron Ramsey is the manager there, 1.44, and you can see that the target odds don't always get hit. It tries, but of course, given the markets, given the odds, it will do its best. So that was the Bet Slip Generator. Let me know what you think about this. Let me know what you think about this video and the new format, the new layout and whatnot. It's great to be back. And this is just the first of many, of course. It's game 0. We have no data to go off, but of course, as the seasons progress, we will be back every week. And next week is the Premier League, so stay tuned for that. Make sure you like this video, comment, and subscribe. It really will help the channel grow. See you in the next one.